Welcome to John S's Sports Channel, and it's League One, Week 33. Goes straight in with Saturday's games, and we're going to go Rotherham versus Barnsley. My team, Rotherham, played Reading and lost last time out 2-1, but that was not a penalty in the last seconds of the game. And there's several other dubious decisions in both directions, so we're not being we're not just being biased to Rotherham. I think both teams came out of that thinking, well, the referee should be non-league at best. We've had Rotherham with 1 win, 1 draw and 4 defeats out of their last 6 games. Barnsley have got 1 draw out of their last 6 games. It's pretty poor, isn't it? The only ones that... Barnsley played really well last time out, I thought, at Huddersfield. 2-1 defeat at home. Huddersfield have started to turn a corner now, I think, and they've had a poor period. They've started to show exactly what they can do, and I'm sure it'll continue till the end of the season. So perhaps they played them at the wrong time, wrong team, wrong time. The other 5 games, Wycombe 2-1 defeat away. Well, there's no shame in that, is there? Rotherham, though, the only team that's really good that they've played has been Birmingham, 2-1 defeat, and actually, they nearly got something out of it. They nearly got a draw. They scored first, and maybe on a different day they could have drawn that one. But at the end of the day, 4 defeats and 1 draw and 1 win for Rotherham. It's 5 defeats and 1 draw for Barnsley. It's a case of where do we go with this one, because I'm seeing results in both ways, but I'm looking at the scoring here. There's a lot of 2-1s, the odd 1-0, the odd 1-0. Yeah, I'm just looking around. Mainly 2-1s. Now, I think it could be just one of those things that just keeps blipping up here. I can see it being a 2-1. The only question is, which way round will it be? I think Rotherham have the home advantage, but we've been playing absolutely shocking. We have got one player coming back from illness. Oh God! And we usually do well when he's on the pitch. So I'm gonna side for the first time in ages. I'm gonna side with my team. And I'm going to go with Rotherham 2, Barnsley 1. And let's just see whether we're anywhere near that one, shall we? We go to Blackpool versus Crawley next. And Blackpool are playing a side that have started to do a little bit different, and we'll come to them in a minute. Crawley have been playing a little bit different of late, and my terminology and what I've been saying about them has been slightly put asunder, hasn't it? Blackpool, though, 2 wins and then 4 draws in a row, and we're starting to see lots of draws. Crawley also drawing 1 or 2 recently. The last 2 have been draws. Wycombe, though, that's a bloody good draw, that, for Crawley. And Wigan, who made a lot of their January window was amazing. And I thought that they might just be able to gel quickly and do quite well. And they drew 1-1 against that Wigan side, which I think is an improved side. What are you all saying? Because it'd be interesting to see 1-1 and 3-1 to Blackpool is what I've got. So we're sort of edging towards Blackpool or a draw. That Blackpool side has really started to be able to score, like the 3-3 draw against Mansfield, but they can also let goals in. And then you've got a Crawley side, like I say, they've changed. They used to play really good, excellent football for 35 minutes, 40 minutes, and then play really poorly for the rest of the game. Of late, they've been playing pretty good for 35, 40 minutes and reasonably well for the rest. Now, that actually means that they've been getting better results. Like I said, I'd rather see a team do all the way through the 90 minutes quite good rather than burst out and get 3-0 up, 4-0 up in the first half and then draw 3-3, 4-4 at the end of the game, which they have been doing. Mansfield was the sixth game ago. That was 1-0 win. So it's win, lose, lose, win, draw, draw, draw against Wycombe, draw against Wigan. Good performance against Stevenage. And I think that, we are seeing a slightly different Crawley side now. Can that make a difference? Yes, I think it can. I think Blackpool's draw, draw, draw scenario and Crawley's draw, draw. I think though will. I'm edging towards a Crawley win, but instead of that, I think I'm going to go with Blackpool 1, Crawley 1, and I'm going to go for another draw for the pair of them. I don't believe I'm doing that, so we're going to go Bolton next and just switch it over on here. Bolton now with the next game. Let's see what they've been doing. Well, just looking at the last games, Orient had a red card for Pratley against Wrexham, so he shouldn't be playing. We've got Bolton win, win, lose, win, lose, win. They're no mugs in this division. Away, home, home, away. You can't even see where they're winning. It's a mixture of home and away. They seem to be good on the road. They seem to be good at home. They don't seem to be, particularly worse. Anyway, slightly worse away from home. But most teams don't have as good a record away, do they? So they're probably a typical mid-stroke upper mid-side at the minute. Where are they in the league, though? We'll just have a quick look at that. We've got Orient in 6th and Bolton in 8th. You see, they've started to play better now, Bolton, and they've started to climb up the table. And they're catching Leyton Orient up. However, Leyton Orient tend not to lose many, do they? Let's take out the Manchester City defeat for Leyton Orient. Although I think that they probably got one hell of a lot of solace from that. They really do seem to have come back invigorated after that defeat because they played so well. An Exeter win 6-2. We have to say the score on that. That was amazing. And then a defeat, missed the FA Cup. A win, a win, a win. The last 3-0 against Mansfield, 3-2 against Lincoln, and 1-2 win against Wrexham. And you have to think that Leyton Orient have been doing some cracking football. They certainly kept Wrexham at bay last time, and that was absolutely amazing. To be able to score 2 at Wrexham is good in its own way, but to be able to just hold them off, which they really did, is brilliant. And okay, it meant a red card, but I think that take one for the team, basically. And they did a really good job. So in this one, I can see Schumacher has done a good job, especially at home. But like I say, the away record isn't that bad in itself, which is why they've climbed the table. But they do let goals in. They have on occasion let goals in. Crawley 4-3, Shrewsbury 3-2. Both wins, but they let in one less than what they scored. So it's not a great thing when you're up there in the table, but you're actually letting goals in as well. But we know that Orient are in super form, don't we? What are you saying? 2-0 to Bolton. That's interesting. 1-2 to Leyton Orient, 2-0 to Leyton Orient. I'm going to go with one of those, and I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to go with, get it the right way around, Bolton 1, Leyton Orient 2. I actually did it wrong way round once, and I stuck with it, and I should have reversed it back to what I said, because it was actually what I'd said, and I'd read it round the wrong way. I thought, no, I'm going to stick to it. That's what I said. And we go down to Cambridge versus Stockport next, and Cambridge, Stockport are two teams who are, I believe, completely end of the table. Yeah, we've got 4th place Stockport County on 57 points, and we've got bottom place, 24th, Cambridge United on 23. So let's see what that game's going to give for us. So, Cambridge versus Stockport. Let's have a look. Cambridge, win, lose, draw, lose, lose. They've not been playing too badly of late. They're certainly not as badly as they did at the first half of the season. a win against Mansfield 3-2, and I think that was probably around the start of Mansfield's downfall, wasn't it? Played them at the right time. They lost against Rotherham, and both were pretty poor. Stockport County win, draw, win. They really have started to get that form back. Like I said, we're looking at the table. Stockport in fourth, and Cambridge rock bottom. They're actually 4 points adrift now. They really do need to get something going, and they have been playing better. I was saying to one of the guys on the about the sacking the other day, and he was a Cambridge fan, and I'm not quite sure whether the timing was right. You're so far at the bottom of the table with so fewer games left. Do you really expect to get out of it? I mean, Rotherham did one season in the Championship. We got Warnock in, and we did an unbeaten run of, I think it was 14 games, and managed to stay clear with 2 games left. But there was 16 games left at that point, and we're a little bit later than that now, aren't we? What are you all saying? With Cambridge 0, Stockport 1, Cambridge 1, Stockport 2. Can I see Cambridge scoring? I think I can see Cambridge scoring, actually. I really can. Manager bounce, getting rid of the maybe, a different style, different setup. Perhaps it'll work. It certainly has been interesting to see a different style of play, and they have actually been playing better. Like I said, even though they lost last time out at home to Exeter 1-0, I thought it was a good, solid performance. But they're playing a Stockport side which realistically is really bouncing, isn't it? Really in good form, and that form is against different sides. I mean, some people say, but they're not been playing the top sides. Who have they played in the last 6? Crawley, okay, yeah. Shrewsbury, yeah. But Leyton Orient win. Barnsley at the right time, because they're not been winning at that point. They started to lose everything. Bristol Rovers, who can play really good and really bad, and actually on that day, Bristol Rovers turned up and played really well, as I remember. And Wigan Athletic, who've got all those done a really good January window, and they won those 2-0 away. So, yeah, there have been little sparks of we've played good sides as well as average and lower league sides. So, I do think that that Cambridge will score, but I'm going to go with, let's have a think, I'm going to go with Cambridge 1, Stockport 2, and we'll move on to Charlton versus Exeter next. Now, Charlton versus Exeter. It's Charlton started so technically brilliant, didn't they? And I think that Charlton's game plan at the beginning was super, and they carried it out. They carried the plan out perfectly every time. They're technically brilliant. Occasionally they had a few blips. They went 2-0 behind to Rotherham, and then at home, and then came back with an excellent display. Absolutely excellent. They thoroughly deserved a 2-2 draw that they got. So Charlton have been doing well. Recently, they've had a poor patch, but now they've started to get a little bit more of a rich patch. Right at the right time, I think. Win, win, draw, win, win, lose. And that loss was against Birmingham. And I actually thought that they'd come away with a draw there, but they just, I thought that they'd attack Birmingham, and I said I think they're going to get something out of it. They'll attack them, but they didn't. They sat back like all the other teams in the division, and all you're doing then is you're asking for Stansfield to get one good shot in the game, and it'll go in the net. Unfortunately for them, wasn't the right tactic, and they've got some really good technically good people in there, so they should have, I think, pushed forward more rather than sitting back. But it's because of who they were playing, isn't it? Because Birmingham are just so far above anyone else. Exeter draw, lose. A draw against Nottingham Forest, and I have to put that one in because they played really, really well. And Cambridge United win, which Okay, it's not the it's it was a 1-0 win, which is 3 points. But realistically, they should be beating teams at the bottom by more than one goal. Either it shows Cambridge are getting better, which I think it does, or it shows that they really don't have that score, that firepower. They do seem to score in. I mean, certainly scored in the. Yeah, they've scored in the last six. So they do seem to score one goal at least, two, one, two, one, one, two, one. One or two goals seems to go in. I can see Exeter scoring again. I really can. But can can Charlton win this? Absolutely. They've started playing really good technical football. I just hope that they don't make an error of judgment like they did in against Birmingham and sit back. I hope, because there's a thought in my mind that they could underestimate Exeter, much like Norwich did against Rotherham in the Championship, one of our only two home wins. They came down thinking they're going to slaughter us because we're at the bottom, and they came back realising that wasn't going to be the case. So will they underestimate Exeter? I think they will a little bit. I think that Charlton will underestimate them. I think they underestimated Blackpool 2-2 draw away, and I think that you do see occasionally Charlton just underestimating their opponents and thinking that this is going to be a whitewash. What are you saying? You're saying 2-0 to Charlton, 2-0 to Charlton, 1-0 to Charlton. I'm going to go boring here. I'm going to go Charlton 2, Exeter 1. I think Exeter will score. They scored in the last six. I think that they're going to continue that run and get a goal. And we'll move on to Huddersfield versus Peterborough. Don't worry, Birmingham fans. I'm going to put you in a minute. I watch my views, and the biggest chunk of views comes next when I do Birmingham. So you can, if you're listening to this, it's next. Huddersfield versus Peterborough. What a game this. Now, I said I could see Huddersfield. They've had a really, really bad patch, really quite long, and I can see them coming out of it. And I said, will they come out of it at Reading? I thought, well, yeah, I think this is showing the signs of coming out of it. And Barnsley, I thought, I thought a draw, because they're going to slowly come out of it. But actually, they seem to come out of it quite well at the minute. Lose, 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 draw, win, win. Okay, it's Barnsley and Shrewsbury, neither of which are playing constantly good football. Barnsley losing most of the games they're playing at the minute. Shrewsbury losing most, but actually having one or two really brilliant wins. Getting points where you wouldn't expect them to, like Birmingham. And a Peterborough side that is lose, win, lose, win, lose, draw. They're not actually playing that well, to be quite honest. Their wins were against Wigan, and that's January the 28th. So they'd started to change their side a bit there and start to change how they, who was in what position. And Cheltenham in the Mickey Mouse Trophy 3-2. So realistically, in the league, it's lose, win, lose, lose, draw. And now we can see that the drive at the minute is certainly behind Huddersfield. I can't see it be, and they're at home. Goals in the last three: 0-0, 2-1 win, and a 1-0 win for Huddersfield. So they're just sneaking it, and but they're still plugging away. They're just not getting enough shots on target. Enough shots, but not quite enough on target. Against a Peterborough side which seems to leak quite often. I mean, even the win against Cheltenham was 3-2. 5-1 defeat to Lincoln City, 3-1 defeat to Bristol Rovers. I think this is going to be a Huddersfield. What do you think? 3-1 win to Huddersfield. 2-1 win to Huddersfield. 2-0 win to Huddersfield. I'm going to go Huddersfield 3, Peterborough 1. I think they're going to score. Just about. And this is the game that all those Birmingham fans have been waiting for. Purposefully not put it in first, because that means all my views are at the beginning. Please do like and subscribe and share if you can, because I have no doubt that in a couple of minutes all the Birmingham fans are going to switch off. Please don't swipe away after I've done your side. We're going Reading versus Birmingham. And we shall see what happens there. Well, Birmingham, obviously last time out was a 2-1 win at Bradford. I have to say that because obviously Bradford beat Rotherham United in the Mickey Mouse Trophy, the round before. I think they actually struggled. I think when Bradford came back in the second half and scored and equalised, I just saw a different Birmingham side there. Now, okay, you can say, and you're probably right, that they didn't really have the same team out, or they weren't really playing to win this, because it is only the Mickey Mouse Trophy. But they did change things to make sure that they won it at the end, and it's just something that they can do, isn't it? They can go behind and they can easily saunter to that win. Occasionally to a draw, but usually to a win. So what have they done? Win, lose against Newcastle, though, 3-2. That was a bloody good game, wasn't it? And a 4-0 win straight after that. They can see how impressed they were of themselves. 4-0 win over Cambridge, a 1-0 win over Charlton, and a 2-1 win in the Mickey Mouse Trophy. The 4-0 win for me was the good point of this, because Birmingham haven't been scoring as much as you would expect them to score as a top side. Now, there was a person who complained I don't do my homework, and I can't do my research because I'm not paid by YouTube, I'm not monetized, and I do have a main job. And then I come back home and I've got a couple of hours to try and put some things together. I have to do it based on my own opinions and looking at other people's thoughts. Either your comments to me, please comment down below, or looking through other channels who have done their research because they're monetized. So really can't do my homework, can't do my research because I don't get paid for it. Otherwise, I mean, this week I'm doing. I'd have to be looking with the number of teams and games I'm looking at. I think it's about 130 teams I'd have to have researched for the different games I'm looking at. So it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but this is my opinion. Take it as a bit of a joke, a bit of a laugh. It's if you want something serious, don't watch me. This is my opinion, and it's cobbled together with other people who I know do their homework. So let's go into it. I think that Reading side lose, win, draw, win. But that last win shouldn't have been a win. That never a penalty in a million years. And the referee did insane decisions for both sides all the way through. Against a Birmingham side, all those wins, 5 wins, 1 defeat against Newcastle United, for God's sake. Railroad, I think this could be quite easily a Railroad. Will Reading score? Now, they didn't score against Huddersfield. They didn't score against Leyton Orient. Now, that to me says a lot. I think the fact that when they come up against the top side, Huddersfield 0-0, Leyton Orient lost 2-0. I'm thinking they don't seem to be able to get a goal, not in the last 6 anyway. So I'm just a little bit worried that Reading won't be able to score against an even better defence of Birmingham's. So I'm gonna plump with Birmingham. What are you saying? 2-1 to Birmingham, 2-1 to Birmingham, 2-0 to Birmingham. I'm going Reading 0. I've just given it you, haven't I? Birmingham 3. And I still think that I even Reading at home, I just can't see them scoring on that one. So please do stay on. Please do like and subscribe. Birmingham fans, have a listen to the other games. Please do. And then comment on what you think. Please don't touch that button. Don't you dare. I know they're going to do it. We're moving on next to we've just done Huddersfield, Peterborough. We're going to do Lincoln versus Burton next, and this is one of those games, I think, because we're going to have to look at the table because we've got Lincoln in 10th. Not doing too well of late. They've been up there. They dropped back down. They snuck up a little bit. They seem to have sort of evened off a bit at the minute. They're in 10th on 43 points. Burton are in 21st on 29. They're really wanting to get something out of this. But which direction are these two teams going? Lincoln City, like I said, they've had a poor patch and they've just started to slightly get a little bit better. But we have to look at who they're playing as well as their recent form. Win, lose, draw, lose, win. Now, the first that first win, 5-1 against Peterborough. Peterborough have been playing pretty poorly at that point in time. Blackpool defeat, Blackpool win. Blackpool defeat. So Blackpool won them at home. So Lincoln 0, Blackpool 2. That was a surprise. Wigan 1-1. That's in February, so they've had their changes, but Wigan are actually starting to play a little bit better, I think, and since that January window. Cambridge 1-1. Cambridge bottom of the league. Yeah, perhaps should have done better than that. But it is a relegation fight, and relegation dogfights go any way at all. We know about that in Rotherham. Leyton Orient 3-2 defeat. Now, they scored 2 against a damn good Leyton Orient side. So we have to think about that one. And then Mansfield have been losing everything under the sun, haven't they? They won Mansfield 3-0 away. So one might say that Lincoln have actually had a relatively easy past 6 games. Relatively easy. They have had Orient. And against that, we've got Burton, who've won, draw, lose, win. 4-2 win against Rotherham. Should have been about 6 or 7. 3-2 win against Reading at home. So 2 good wins at home. And then a draw away at Barnsley when they're starting to play really poorly. Blackpool draw. Bristol Rovers lose away, but they're up and down, aren't they, as far as how they play. And a Stevenage win away 1-0. Burton can play great one day and sort of their standard average play the next. I'm not going to say poor play. They can play decent play most of the time, but just don't seem to get the run of the green sometimes. Of late, they've only lost 1, remember, in the last 6, whereas Lincoln have lost 2. I don't think there's a hell of a lot. In fact, there's not an awful lot of difference points-wise between them. Burton just about scraping it. But because it's one of those games, I think that Burton really don't want to underperform in. We may see a Burton side that's just starting to see that they can play decent football against some decent teams. Stevenage can play really well. Won them 1-0, for instance. Barnsley can play really well. They aren't doing, but they drew 0-0. And they should have got 6 or 7 against Rotherham, and you think that has to be good for the morale. What are you saying? 1-1, 1-1, 1-0 to Lincoln. I'm going to go with the majority on that. I think I'm going to go Lincoln 1, Burton 1, seeing as most of you seem to be thinking that. And we will move on to Northampton versus Bristol Rovers. Now, I'm going to take a second just to quickly look through these, and we shall do Northampton versus Bristol Rovers. So we have Northampton versus Bristol Rovers. Shaq Ford came off red carded, didn't he? Bristol Rovers, 82 minutes against Wycombe, so that's 1 man down, and they don't always turn up. It's going to be a difficult one. Northampton lose, draw, lose, win, lose, but only against Wrexham 2-0. And I think that they did I think they actually did damn good in that one. I was actually thinking they went down on 19 minutes, and I thought, they might be able to hold off. But then Ollie Rathbone scored on 22, and then they just held off and held them at bay all that time. And I think holding them off for such a long time is a little bit gives testimony to how good they can defend. This side does let goals in, 3-2 win against Huddersfield. They can let the odd goal in. However, most sides can't they? We're talking the bottom half after all. Bristol Rovers, lose, win, draw, win, lose. But lose was 2-0 against Wycombe. So they both had the same run-in. And this is what worries me. They both had similar, almost exactly the same. It is exactly the same points total, all in the previous 5. And then the last game's both been 2-0 against one of the top teams. These two are almost identical all the way through. Style, I would say Bristol Rovers are more likely to either turn up and play super football or not turn up and play just below average. And they still are doing that. If I had to choose a winner, I would choose Northampton. I think A, they're at home, B, Bristol Rovers can play good one week, bad the next. We're going to go with whatever you say, I think, though, really. So we're going to go with Northampton, Bristol Rovers. Oh, dear. 1-0 to Northampton, 1-0 to Northampton, 1-1. Will Bristol Rovers turn up or not is the question, isn't it? I'm going to go Northampton 1, Bristol Rovers 0, and we'll move on to the next game. And the next game is Shrewsbury Town versus Stevenage. Now, Stevenage played Burton last time out and lost. Now, Burton actually lost Van Kooten, didn't they? I didn't mention that. Burton's defender, Van Kooten, 57 minutes red carded. Still going to stick with the Lincoln score, but Lincoln City, you might have a way round the back end a little bit more now, and down their right side. Let's have a look. We have Stevenage and away at Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury Town lose, win, draw, lose. However, the last 2 times out for Shrewsbury Town, 3-2 defeat at home to Bolton. Now, Bolton are a good side, and they've started to play some good football. Certainly have. Huddersfield, I was impressed by that game as well from both sides. And we've got Huddersfield the last time out 1-0. And they nearly did it, didn't they? And, near the end, Huddersfield managed to get that 1 goal. But they defended so stoutly, I think, Shrewsbury Town. And I think they did really well. So, can they do it again against a Stevenage side that is starting to flag, aren't they? Win, lose, draw, lose. Now you have to think, where do they get their points from then? 4-1, 6 games ago, 4-1 against Exeter. Totally out of the blue. I didn't expect that one. And then lose. Birmingham, Charlton, 2 teams that have been playing really well at that point in time. Well, Birmingham still are. And Crawley Town defeat, which they didn't make the most of when Crawley were playing their poorer football, because at that point Crawley had started to change their style a little bit and improve just a little bit. Perhaps that's what took them took Stevenage by surprise. And then Peterborough, not playing very well, got a draw against them, and Burton, to lose against Burton at home is something that Stevenage wouldn't have expected. The table is not really showing how they're playing at the minute. Stevenage in 13th on 41 points, and Shrewsbury Town on 27 points in 23rd. Now, it's going to be interesting because I think there's going to be people here. Yeah, I look at what you're saying. 1-0 to Shrewsbury, 1-0 to Shrewsbury, 2-1 to Shrewsbury. I've gone with one of those because I think that Stevenage are just not cutting it, and they're not cutting it against the sides who we would expect them to cut it against. Can I see that this little poor period extending? Yes, I can. I think it's going to be Shrewsbury Town 2, Stevenage 1. And we'll move on to Wycombe versus Wigan. Now, this should be a one-way traffic, shouldn't it? Now, I'm going to go to what you're suggesting first this time, because I would be saying, yeah, this is definitely going to be one-way traffic. Wycombe are obviously going to win this. However, there's been a change. Wigan have had a good, I think that was a good January window. And I think I have actually seen enough of their enough from them since sort of like the end of January, beginning of February to think they're playing some good football. They're actually playing some good football. Is it enough to beat Wycombe? I don't know. What are you saying? 1-1, 1-0 to Wycombe, 2-0 to Wycombe. So we are sort of thinking that Wigan could just about take this one to a draw. Why are you thinking that? Well, look at the scores for the last 6 for Wycombe Wanderers. Draw, win, draw, 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 win. The 2 wins were Barnsley 2-1, but that was right at the for just after the start of Barnsley's downfall. And Bristol Rovers 2-0 at home. Well, you know, they actually played quite well, I thought there. So we'll give them that one. Wigan though, we're starting in the end of January, so just about when Wigan started to play a little bit better, just a little. Win, lose, draw, lose, draw. You know, they've gone from playing poor football to playing decent football, but still not quite getting the results. But they are getting draws, and I'm just sort of thinking I can see where that person is coming from who said 1-1. But Wycombe, for me, are just so much better. I can see this being a 1-1. I would sort of edge on 1-1. I think that Wigan could nick a 1-1 here. The only thing is they're playing away from home and they're not... I mean, those away games... Actually, only one of those away games, Peterborough, was a defeat. The other 2 defeats were at home. Fulham, which was a very good game. They actually played really well. This is why I say they have been playing some good football. And I'm sort of tempted to stick with a 1-1. Really am. It's a two-way horse, this. I'm like, it's a draw or Wycombe. You know, I'm going to go with Wycombe 2, Wigan 1. And it pains me. I'm really tempted to go with 1-1. And we will go to the game that's not on Saturday. We'll go to Mansfield versus Wrexham. Well, this has to be one way, doesn't it? I mean, it really does. Look, Mansfield have lost their main striker, Gregory. It pains me to say they tried a couple of ways in the last couple of games. They keep changing the front line to try and get something out of it. It's just not really happened, apart from Blackpool, and then they lost. They let 3 in. Lose, draw, lose. And, you know, the last 3-0 defeat to Leyton Orient. Okay, it is Leyton Orient. 3-3 draw to Blackpool. And how did they not win that one? Absolutely insane game. And Blackpool nearly won it in the last few seconds. Lincoln City 3-0 defeat. Now, they just don't seem to be able to score and not let goals in. Like and scoring is the issue with Mansfield, absolutely, as Roy would hopefully agree with. And they're playing a Wrexham side that is only beatable by the top sides. Let's just face it. However, we start with lose, win, lose. The Stevenage 3-2 defeat, which was absolutely amazing. Great game to watch. Where did Stevenage find that one? I haven't a clue. Then they won against Crawley, Port Vale in the Mickey Mouse Trophy, Bolton, Northampton. So not the best of sides. Bolton among those were probably the better side at that point where they played them. The first time they played a decent side in the last 6 was actually the last time out against Leyton Orient, and they lost at home 2-1. Now, I actually don't think, and I am actually going to change it. I am actually going to change my my prediction, because I don't see them scoring a lot, because that worries me, the fact that they've played they've won 4 teams who are okay, one slightly better than okay, and lost against a poor team, and then lost against a top team. I just think that this could be a game where Mansfield could, if they can get that defence right, come out with a 0-0. It could be 0-0, but I'm not going to go for 0-0. Sorry, Roy. I'm going to go for Mansfield 1, Wrexham 2. And that is our games today. Please do like and subscribe. Hopefully the Birmingham fans stayed until now, but I doubt it. Please do like and subscribe. It's Johnny's Sports Channel over out for another prediction on League One, week 33 this time. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.